MPs are now advocating for the government to welcome up to 200,000 Palestinian refugees. I think that's wrong. 40 MPs, all Labour, of course. Well, some Labour and some SNP, no Tories. It's just Labour lords and also baronesses are advocating for this. But they're forgetting that Palestinians killed the Prime Minister in Jordan. They also tried to kill the King. A lot of these people are very anti-West. And I do have empathy for the children, the innocent children and the civilians that don't support Hamas. But it's too much of a risk for me. We can be importing Hamas. We can be importing people that are terrorist sympathisers. And it's time we care about British people and put the safety of British people first. Too many people are virtue signalling, refugees this, refugees that, and they do not care, and they're blinkered when refugees commit heinous crimes like rape, murder, stabbings in this country. The Ukrainians haven't committed any crimes, so we need to put the safety of British people first.
Well, some Ukrainians probably have committed crimes, but I get your point. And
not heinous ones.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the people that have committed such atrocities you're talking about, the guy, the Moroccan, I can't remember his name, who stabbed the pensioner in Hartlepool, he was an asylum seeker.
Yeah.
And I think the point is there's a difference between, especially when it comes to the small boats crisis, there's a difference in the language. Are they refugees or are they just economic migrants? A lot of them are economic migrants.
Yes.
But with regards to the 200,000 Palestinians,
yes,
I couldn't care if they're 200,000 white Poles or Americans. There's no room in the country.
Firstly, there's no room. We don't have we obviously have a housing crisis, but we have to remember a lot of these Palestinians hate this country because they think that we're arming Israel. So we're the enemy, but there's too many refugees. We've seen it time again, are very happy to bite the hand that feeds them. They'll come here with no intention of working. So
I'm surprised that's your position, though, because whenever I've defended Israel, you've turned around and said things like, well, you're supporting killing kids and things like that.
No, I didn't.
So
why do you have to exacerbate my language like that? I never said that. The only points I've raised, and for some bizarre reason I've been absolutely...
I swear you actually tweeted that people were supporting the killing of kids.
No, I said I had concerns about, as did Joe Biden, America, the UN, I had concerns about the number of children dying on both sides. And because I said something as subtle as that, I was attacked for it online by a lot of people, very tribal people on the Israeli side of the argument. But
don't worry, if you say...
It's heartbreaking children dying.
Exactly.
Their parents vote for Hamas less than 2 decades ago, and now they support them more. There's been studies and there's been surveys saying that they support Hamas even more.
So, Paula, would you...
October
Sorry, go on.
But even notwithstanding that, I think before we accept 200,000 here,
I don't think we should accept any. I think it's time for the UAE.
I would like to see Jordan, Egypt open their doors, but they won't. So then we have to say to ourselves, why won't these neighbouring countries accept their fellow countrymen if we're going to have to take them?
But we're not going to have to take them. We should have a referendum on this.
I think that's a really good point. You know, Egypt has a wall that would make Trump blush between it and Gaza.
I said this just the other day.
Well, I said it just the other week. God forbid we'd start agreeing on anything. I really don't want that. So I think that's absolutely true. You know, those Arab states not just they don't take people from Gaza or the West Bank, from Palestine. They don't take, a British person doesn't get citizenship, right? They don't do it full stop.
But they have a lot of money, they have no housing problem, and it's a Muslim country, so the Palestinians will be happier there. So why does everyone have a go at us just because we don't want to take them? Look what happened in Denmark. They accepted loads of Palestinian refugees, and now over 60% have criminal records. We'd be moronic to accept them.
Another thing I'd say, though, is that, I've just got back from travelling across Yemen and Lebanon, one run by the Houthis, the other by Hezbollah. And, one thing that is really important to get across is that most people in these countries that are run by heinous dictators and terrorists, they don't share the worldview that the people ruling over them do. They have the same humanity as you find across the world.
But they
don't obsess over these things in the same ways. And so
should we bring
I do feel uncomfortable when people say, they all think that because the terrorists are controlling them.
They did vote less than 2 decades ago. And
I'm not
since
telling you
October
isn't
the
a problem.
7th, they have more support for Hamas.
But, I just got back from Tripoli in Lebanon this morning, in fact, right? Which you could say was like that. And the people were delighted to meet a British person. You know, the idea that they were so obsessed with these things,
but
they want a better life, okay?
Should they come here?
But they want to be like they're cheering when the Israelis were killed.
Hang on.
And actually, this morning I met a Palestinian refugee. He was confused at the airport, and I was explaining him how to get through. He said, I've never been on a plane before, and he was flying to Turkey to claim refugee status. And I have to say, seeing this man who must have been about 50, and he just had a backpack, a large backpack on his back, nothing else in the world, you know, much older than me, maybe twice my age.
Well, I hope he doesn't go on to commit crimes in Turkey, because a lot do.
To actually see somebody in that situation with so little. And it did give me a sense of perspective, and he was a very nice man. He actually spoke reasonably good English.
But you know what, Benjamin, is it not the same as me this morning driving over London Bridge at 6 a.m. in the morning and seeing somebody who was probably in their 50s sleeping on the pavement, a British guy?
People don't care about these people.
My heart bled for that man. We've got enough of these people at home to sort out at the moment, haven't we?
I think that the difficulty... Look, you know, I've strongly sided with Israel, but the difficulty is to say that one place in the world should not be granted refugee status. I would say to you, what is the cultural difference between Afghans we're bringing over and people from Palestine?
It's
probably subtle.
Okay.